Hey ma, what's up? What's up? We gonna get it on tonight.
I don't know what that is.
You don't know that song?
I do not.
Hey ma, what up?
Hey, Ma.
Actually, Maat, M-A-A-T, the goddess,
Oh.
has been coming through a lot, so maybe that was
her saying, I'm here, bitch.
I know, right? Damn, this is like a lights, camera, action kind of day. We're bright. We're no longer blueberries. We are full-blown rays of sunshine today.
Yes. Thank you so much for just sticking through it with us. Just like in season 1 where we were figuring out what the fuck we're doing online. Now we're trying to figure out what the fuck we're doing in person. And I'll tell you, we are the lights. We are the camera. We are the entertainment. We are the editing. We are literally everything. And we are figuring it out as we go. And having a good time with it. So I'm happy to not be blue, although our Pleiadians will be sad. We're blue on the inside.
Yeah, we are.
Well, welcome back. It is episode 7 of season 5. We are so happy you are here. Thank you for joining us. We have a bit of I don't know if it's a 2-parter per se, but these next 2 episodes are really interlocked. So if you're here with us this week, make sure you join us next week as well. But Victoria, my lovely co-host, how you doing, girl?
I'm so good. I'm here. Just realized my button is unbuttoned. So there's sort of this like playful, let's just get naked and run through the forest energy. We still have to get our butts into the forest to play with the fairies. So making note of that now. Other than that, I'm loving this time of year. Feels good to be in body. How you feeling?
I'm feeling really good too. I feel like the last 2 episodes, I talked a lot about like the challenges that I was facing and what I was going through. And now all of those loose ends are like yesterday I tied up, I think, the last one potentially. And it just feels really good to fully embody now this next chapter because I was in this in-between state. Yeah, I'm like, it's been so good. It's been so good. Like all that challenge and nuggets of truth, I now get to like play out, and it feels really good.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
It is always good to be on the other side. But alas, we are on this side of things right here, right now. Yes, and I feel like we're going to talk about our namesake today.
Yeah, we are. Well, it's actually perfect timing because this is the week, this will be airing the week after Lionsgate Portal. And a lot of what we're talking about this week and next week really breaks down not the Lionsgate Portal itself, but the concepts and constructs around these ideas. So today, what are we talking about?
The suspense. What? I'm like, as it says it in the title.
Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. Hold on. That I have never thought of that. We constantly are like, let's not tell them exactly what the theme is yet. Let's keep them waiting. It's right there. Like you clicked on it. Okay.
And then we spend so much time writing the description too, to be very like,
ooh, you better listen to find out.
Yeah.
Feeling very thirsty today.
Let's tease them. But we're talking about frequency, hence the title.
Yeah. Frequency. I mean, we are the frequency broads. So I would say we have a little knowledge on it. And I think it's the basic, like the base of everything.
I'm like, where are you gonna? My throat is so gurgly right now. We just had snack time. I mean,
snack time. We love having snack time.
I mean, you are what you eat.
Popcorners?
I meant a snack. Oh, that's so funny. I feel like everything I have to say about this topic is super deep, so I'm hoping you can kind of
I can lead us in.
ease us in, because I'm like way at the bottom of it. And
I got you, girl.
Okay.
I fucking got you. I will say that both of this week's topic and next week's topic came to me quite strongly, and it was just flooding through me. Like when I talk about downloads, and I want to talk a little bit about downloads as well. Did you hear that? I'm like, is that you or me?
I don't.
We're struggling. The frequency is crazy. But a lot of it came through in active writing, just like. So I feel that there will be some times where I might just read straight up from my journal, but I have it here. I'm going to be referenced. I'm going to be looking down because I need to like remember the million fucking things that came through for both these topics. I digress. Everything has a frequency. Energy, right? We've talked about like energy 101 before. We are electromagnetic beings. Everything around us gives off some kind of energy or frequency. The way that I picture it in my brain is like a sound wave or a light wave, you know? So depending on how fast that frequency is, the waves are a bit shorter versus those longer waves, which are bigger dips up and down. Oh, okay. Well, hello. When you're at a lower vibration, then you're really going to feel the swings of the ups and downs because your waves are much bigger.
And just as much when you're high. Yeah, let's not forget about that.
Yeah. And as we've said in another episode, when we're talking high frequency or high vibe or whatever, we're not talking good or bad. We're not talking like you need to be high vibe only. Like that's only positive experiences.
I just saw a diagram today that had on the left, a scale that was like high vibe, low vibe, and attributes of either. And then on the other side, it was showing just a circle, and it was like.
Oh yeah, you sent that to me. Yeah.
Did I send it to you? I forgot about that.
But continue.
Yeah, but the left side, obviously, that's on a scale on that spectrum is spiritual bypassing. Mm-hmm. On the right, it had grief, it had mourning, it had all the emotions that you experience and the high highs and low lows.
Mm-hmm. What that made me think of is because we talk a lot about how fear is a lower vibration.
Yeah.
Right? But it doesn't mean I'm scared necessarily, like in a feeling type of way. They're talking that frequency wave. So grief, loss, despair, that all can come from a love frequency, right?
My throat.
I heard that, girl.
I don't know. I can't fucking burp.
That's your throat chakra. Neither can I. That's your throat chakra being like, I'm ready.
Okay, I don't want to cut you off because you're on a really good trail there, but the lows, I think, feel heavy and dense in energy. And I do want to mention, and because we talked about timeline shifts during the last episode, and we always say for the highest good or the highest timeline. And what that really ultimately means is you're living out the blueprint of the perfect human residing within you that your spirit, your soul knows exists, that you designed for yourself. Mm-hmm. And it's just tapping in and being closer to that blueprint. That's what highest good, higher good means. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily this like unattainable timeline in which you have to like sacrifice everything you love in order to reach. It's literally just this blueprint inside of you that as you start, it's like the Russian doll effect, right? Like when you peel back the layers, you get closer to this blueprint. Sorry, you have to go through shit to get there. Sometimes it's fun. Sometimes it's pleasurable.
And that perfect version does not mean that you're perfect by human standards. No. That you're going to be great at everything, that everything's going to be hunky-dory and happy-go-lucky. Like, no. It just means that, if we go back to, I think it was season 1 or 2, where we talk about Earth and the galactic
Oh, that's such a good
That is
episode.
a really good episode. I think it was season 2. Regardless.
Last episode of season.
Yes. 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like when we talk in that episode, we are all, when we look at like the oversoul and above that and all that, we all come from one thing, we split off, right? So if the perfect version of you for this timeline is someone who is consistently making mistakes because you need to learn more about yourself, which is ultimately us learning more about each other, I'll get to that a little bit more, then that's okay too. That perfect highest timeline doesn't always look perfect by the human eye. I wanted to clarify that as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But anyway, frequency. Everything has a frequency, which means that everything has dissonance and resonance. Because, right, Victoria always says, it's an energy game. The way that I think about it is kind of like a tuning fork. You hit it, it sends out its little sound waves. Sometimes those sound waves cross over and harmonize, and sometimes they cross over and it's like nails on a chalkboard. And it's our job, like our whole purpose here, like the overall purpose is for you to just pretty much bop around as a human until you figure out what you're currently emitting in frequency and what resonates with that and what doesn't. And once you have, I feel like I'm getting a little deep into it already, but once you have something that's resonating with the frequency you're emitting, that's the universe being like, here's the mirror. Are you happy with that? Right? So we talked about challenge or change. If that's what you are emitting, right? If that's what you're giving off, like attracts like, you're going to bring that in.
Yeah.
And it's not because you need, I know I talked about getting a nugget of truth and learning a lesson. That nugget of truth is about yourself. Do I like what's coming back into my field? Because if I don't, then I better change my field. Not anybody else, not anything else, but myself, so I can attract something different and learn from it if I like it or not, if there's resonance or dissonance.
I actually took this quote from Womb Awakening is the name of the book. And it talks about how obviously this is a holographic reality, whether or not you're at that point in your perception, neither here nor there, but this holograph literally reflects back to you in order to restore you back to wholeness, to remind you of your blueprint. So you'll probably get clues and glimpses of your blueprint throughout your life. But yeah, that mirrored effect, if you're sort of like, I was really resistant to whole like mirroring. That concept just pissed me off because it was happening so strongly in my life. And I now kind of like this whole like holographic, like things are presented in front of me, not necessarily like, because some people don't want to face themselves. Some people can't face themselves and witness what it is that they need to learn at the same time because it's like double the trigger. It like cancels out the message.
Yeah.
So let it be
hard.
a holograph, not a mirror.
Oh, yeah. But it's really interesting because we're like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be with this person anymore. And we've talked about it before, those patterns, those cycles we get ourselves in. It's because we haven't changed. It's because we haven't changed. That frequency we're emitting, that sound wave we're emitting, it's looking for harmony. So if it's a freaking flat chord that's going out, it's gaining flat chords back. You have to tend to your own frequency, tend to your own energy. And I think the way that we align and get those glimpses of our highest timeline, our best blueprint, is through authenticity. Being your authentic self, no matter what that looks like in the current moment, will allow you to see exactly who you are. And then say, okay, I don't like this. I don't like this experience. Let me shift my energy, my perspective, my, frequency, and then see what else comes up. That's where that glimpse comes in. We can't access that if we're hiding behind too many masks, if we're trying to be someone that we're not. Live authentically and let those things show up and say, this is who you are authentically. How does that make you feel?
I do want to take a moment to acknowledge that while you might be fully aware that you're evolving and growing and may have outgrown a relationship, a person, job situation, the more time you spend with something or someone, you're going to love it. Like
Mm-hmm.
and love is often what ties us or keeps us tied. And it's very, very tricky
Mm.
to give your mind and your heart permission to love in the absence, not abstinence. We were just joking. We were just joking around about like the first season when I was celibate and how I talked about being celibate the whole time. Like, you're
Now it's on your
welcome. You're
brain.
welcome. I don't have to talk about that anymore. But what was I saying? To love someone is sometimes to say goodbye.
I actually saw this thing more about like women specific in like a straight relationship, but this goes for anyone. They were saying like if a person loves you, they're gonna try to help you grow. Even if that means that they lose the relationship.
Oh.
So voicing your concerns, voicing your feelings, your needs, what you see in them, what you want to see in them, like these kinds of things may push them away, but that's actually true love because you're like, it's not about our relationship. It's about I love you and I want to see you get to where or be happy or grow in this capacity. So I feel like it's very similar in that. It's like love keeps us somewhere, but if we truly embody unconditional love, then we can just let them go. Let it go, girl. Let it go. Let it go. Okay.
Fuck.
Yeah. But again, that comes with reading frequency, right? If I'm in a relationship and
Yeah, pull up your chair.
hold on. Listen to me. I'm in a relationship, all right? And there's my frequency, there's his frequency, there's our frequency. And by tending to myself and living authentically, it may make him get triggered or, you know, if our frequency is not in harmony in that moment. And relationships are going to fluctuate because we're always changing and shifting our frequency, right? The goal is to raise our consciousness. Our goal is to raise our frequency to the highest frequency that we've been able to read. What's that scale? The Schumann scale?
Schumann
scale?
Resonance.
Look that up. Authenticity is at the top, right? The concept that we're trying to get to is unity as a consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
And we do that by living authentically because we are all connected in one. And the more that I learn about myself, the more that I learn about the whole. And if we're not all living authentically, then we can't match that frequency of unity. Well, I can say that I've mentioned a couple times emitting frequency, right? And the way, like, I think if we're going to talk about frequency, it's how do we, what is that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the way that I understand it is what frequency you're emitting is emotion plus thought.
Ooh.
Right? So we can have these emotions and just like when our nervous system is spiked and we have these physiological reactions and we can just let it rock. That is not emitting a frequency because you're just letting it ride. You're letting it come up, you're metabolizing it, you're moving on. You could have your thoughts running and like not have a feeling. You're just like going off on a little loop-de-loop over there. That's not going to necessarily emit a frequency. What does is when we have this big emotional response and the thought that links to it, right? Just like when we talked about last time with the winning the lottery and waiting 10 days, right? The thought is, I just won the fucking lottery and I feel it. That's the admission that I'm giving to everybody else. That's what I'm pumping out to the world. If I'm feeling super depressed and the thought to match that is, I'm not enough, I'm the worst, that's the frequency we're emitting and we are going to attract whatever we are emitting. We're magnets, right? And sometimes it's what we're emitting, and sometimes it's what someone else is emitting. So if you're not being conscious and being intentional about what you're putting out there, or even how your frequency or energy is running, you could very easily harmonize to someone else, right? Think about groups of friends. If you're with a group of friends who are judgmental and are always like talking about other people and are like, you know, maybe materialistic, I'm thinking like classic, like girl movie, like Cliques, right? If you start, oh my God, Mean Girls, right? You start hanging out with the plastics enough, you're going to be plastic. But you can hang out with the plastics and still hold your own frequency of the cool kids, Janice Ian, and still hang out with them, right? You just have that kind of separation there. So it's about being really intentional about what you're emitting and what you're allowing yourself to attune to.
I think where we start to really question that whole principle that is so, like, I think just how the world works, like laws of physics, this is like laws of energetics, right? We start to really question it when we know that we're operating on a totally different frequency, and then something from the past comes back into your field as like a little test, a little tease of like, oh, do you still think this way? You think you've up leveled? Let's put it to the test. Hence why I think I've always attracted relationships where I've been cheated on and lied to. I'm not a cheater. I'm not a liar. And yet, for whatever reason, because I had that experience at a very young age, that imprint has just repeated and repeated and repeated. And I am now at this point in my life where it's not happening anymore. Like, I am not allowing that energy to end. But I'm constantly being tested with it. It's always in my field because it's still unraveling. It is generations deep. It is not just mine. I can feel that it's not just mine. Grandparents, I'm looking at you. You're welcome for this one. It's painful. Betrayal is painful. And the trauma imprints that so many of us have from whatever the case may be, it's our responsibility to heal and tend to. And the mind, thought, frequency connection forms this perfect little cocktail of a healing remedy that, well, it could either heal you or keep you stuck in the muck.
The way that they showed me when I was getting these downloads were like as if you're running a marathon, right? And they're like, get your human brain out of the fact that it's a quote unquote race. They're like, we're not talking race. We're just talking pace, right? So they're like, you're running. You all start at the same time, or same area, I guess I should say, not same time. And you start running. And if you pick up your pace, right, if you raise your frequency, there will be people that tend to blend into the background or disappear completely, right? Now, those are the people that it may not be anything crazy. It may not be a big breakup. It may not be a big fight. It could just be now they're out of your field. That thought pattern, that person, that situation is now out of your field. There are people that you're running up to meet, right? Those are now your spiritual, your soul tribe, your spiritual community that you're coming up and you're matching pace. There are people that are coming from the back that are learning to match your pace and may be coming back in. And then there are people who have a hook on your belt and are making you run a little bit slower. So it's about taking the hooks off your belt and continuing on your pace, because ultimately everyone's going to finish the marathon, right? And the second you start worrying about who's behind you or who's in front of you, you're going to trip and fall on your face. So if you could just keep your pace. And they also wanted me to note that rest, relaxation is a part of this quote unquote race. That's what allows us to keep moving. If we run ourselves on E, we're going to fall flat on our face. But when we think of frequency and what we attract as we're running on this marathon road, think of it like that. Like, where are you sitting? Are you in the back with those who have those heavy weights on themselves, not on others, right? But they have that more dense frequency. Or are you matching the pace of those who are above you? Because it's not just what you emit, it's where you allow yourself to match that pace.
God, I love that so much. Oh, I could feel that. Could you all feel that too as she was describing it? Woof.
Wait, I got another one for you. They were giving me so many fucking analogies. They were saying in that race, now we're talking about people and situations, but then there's also lineage trauma. There's shit from past lives or parallel lives. There's cosmic energy coming down that is not always pleasant. And what they said was, it's as if you're running on that marathon road, that there's a big fog area, like you're running through dense fog. And you can worry about the people behind you and stop. You could stop and be scared because you can't see what's next. And you're like, oh my God, now you're not running. Now you're not running at all. Now you're just staying in place. Or you could hold your frequency, even in this uncertainty, darkness, uncomfortability, being the lighthouse for those behind you, because you're holding that. And most importantly, trusting the step that you cannot see in front of you. If I am living authentically, then I know that my next step, whether I can see it or not, is going to be best case scenario, my highest timeline. Because living authentically, like Victoria said, will bring you a timeline where everything is happening best case scenario. No matter how uncomfortable or thick that fog is, it's for best case scenario, for realignment to authenticity, to continue on the marathon road.
Felt like we needed a pause to take that all in, because whoo, I'm the type of person to stop and look behind me and make sure everyone is.
Me too.
You for sure are like that too. But being that lighthouse and trusting the darkness in front of you.
Because then you know what happens? You wait there for them and you become the fog. Now they're even more blinded and you're stuck because you've become the fog.
Yeah,
dude. I was going to say, I think the fog is a good thing, because what happens is when we do, and I don't think shutting out everyone who's not at the same frequency of you is what we're asking you to do.
Not at all. It's so important to meet those people with kindness and respect, and to be the beacon of light, to be the lighthouse, and to show them what it is like to embody a different frequency.
Yes.
Gotta live by example.
Oh my God. Yes. I think something when it comes to your frequency, right? Learn the one, learn the whole. Something I've been thinking about and what they gave me. What's your assignment? And I'm not talking life's purpose, like, oh, a teacher or a healer. What is your assignment for coming to Earth? And I always said my assignment was a challenger. And I've talked about that before, that I push people, that this is why I'm the villain. And they've always said, like, be the lighthouse. And I was like, yeah, sure. But also I'm the challenger. When they gave me my motherfucking assignment, I was like, well, I have not been doing the assignment. Because ultimately, we all come down here to join unity consciousness and raise the frequency of the planet. So we each have a small part. We're all people of strengths and challenges. Your strength is your assignment for what you're here to do. So sit with yourself and ask, what's my assignment? Not what's my job, not what's my
life purpose.
What's my assignment being here on Earth?
Did you understand the assignment?
I did.
No, I'm so curious what yours is.
I guess for me, my assignment is, yes, I'll be challenging people, but it's because I'm not mirroring. I'm coming and holding my own frequency without mirroring necessarily what you got going on.
Which means you trigger the shit out of people.
Right. But where in the past, I used to take that on and say, let me attune you, let me teach you, let me help you. They're like, don't fucking do that. That's not your assignment. You have one fucking assignment, Tara, and it's to hold the frequency. Period. Done.
You really are helping us all to evolve what it means to be an empath.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
And I think too that uncomfortability, that fog that we can get into, that we can attune to, that is so crucial, because that's the malleable energy. The shift in your frequency in whatever direction means that there's new energy forming that you get to take a hold of and say, oh, okay, I'm in the construction zone of this track. What's my intention now that I have the malleable energy, the bricks that I'll be laying on this track? What's my intention? Can I consciously pause and say, this big change is happening, or this big shift in frequency or energy or my perspective is happening. So what's my intention for the next X amount of time?
It's so interesting to look at fog as stress, anxiety, overwhelm, exhaustion, trauma, because we're being distracted in so many ways that keep us from even, having the energy to explore and find these key codes and to play with different modalities and teachings. And when you're in that state of your nervous system all amuck, like all you can do is survive at that point. And I think so many people feel stuck in a state of survival. And so if you're like, how do I get started on this journey? Maybe the first thing is really look at, like, what is it in your life that causes you the stress, anxiety, etc., and what are you doing about it? Because that's like the beginning steps of how you start to finesse your own energy.
And I think it's, what are you doing about it internally and externally?
Yeah.
Right? Are there things that need to actually change, or is it your perception and your like patterns?
Have you ever been hypnotized?
No, but I really want to.
I want to as well. Hypnosis seems like such a, and I feel like
really
we're already kind of on that. It's different, but I feel like when we're channeling in our meditations, that is a form of hypnosis. But I'm so curious where we would go and what we would see, and like,
I know.
But then hypnosis for the sake of like releasing the trauma or anxiety, whatever it is that might be taking you away from your most authentic self. Yeah, the world needs more hypnotists.
I'm like, if you know a hypnotist that will help me just channel my light being,
I think Nikki does.
Good to know.
Yeah. We'll include Nikki's link below.
Yes.
That's where we met. Shout out to Nikki.
Shit. Yes.
Yeah, we met at her sound bath.
Wait a minute. Did we just pass our 2-year anniversary? Or 3?
2.
2. Because I've lived in Oregon for 3, but I didn't meet you until the following spring.
Yep.
Okay. That's crazy. Okay, so there's so much more we can talk about when it comes to frequency, but it does lead into our next topic. So instead of continuing here, we're going to go to next week. But I want to leave you with this. This was something that I wrote down and channeled through. So I'm just going to share that with you. Okay, a little bit of it might be repetitive because these were obviously downloads and then I was just channeling right now, but bear with me. Life is about bopping around, experiencing different frequencies to learn more about ourselves. We are all one. The more we learn about the one, the more we learn about the whole. If we understand the whole, there will be nothing to fear. An experience with someone, good, bad, or indifferent, doesn't teach you about them. They are ever-changing beings responding to their current state. You learn more about yourself, your thoughts, your actions, your patterns, how it feels to move through the world one way versus another, what fills and drains you. Creating a practice of allowing your body to metabolize unprocessed emotions stored in the body allows us to release, learn from that message, and let it go. That is alchemization at its finest. You can do that with support or alone. Every time you do, you're clearing a log from the dam. Each log that's gone allows the energy to flow freely instead of getting stuck in past traumas or experiences. And they even reference this. This is like actually from their words. Just like Avatar, your chakras can be viewed like pools of water with one above for your cosmic connection and one below for the earth. If you need help alchemizing stored energy into new potentials, filter them there. They also provide currents of life that will help shake up, awaken, and release any energy needed to align with your current frequency. All of these areas of energy exchange and movement are portals. You are reaching into another timeline of perspectives or are accessing your other dimensional beings. It is the breakdown of matter to its particle state and constructing something new. There are portals on the physical planet that are used as doorways from other dimensions or lines of frequency. There are portals in your body to access your lineage and inner energies. You can create a portal by manipulating energy with intention, and portals open in your field due to the cosmic energy flooding in during the storm. The flood will continue to fill the field until it erodes itself open. Once the portal is accessed, if you're present enough for it, you can create a map to access it again. You will receive keys or ways of practicing or information of unlocking your own. Some require more energy than others, more emitting frequency, either from yourself or a group. So I feel like frequency takes me right into portals.
Let this episode just be a little frequency foreplay for you. Tune in next week where we talk about portals.
We love you.